I want to try and change the tone of this in a positive sense. And you kind of
You know what,
reiterated this
Phil
yesterday.
used to have my position, and he was far better at it than I. Phil, come up and give us your perspective.
Well, you're going to tell through the story of Peterborough, and I think this is worth sharing. And to Richard's commentary about being the fourth pillar, the stores being the face of the society, your pantry used to be the original store for Peterborough.
Right.
And the sales in that approximately was how much?
Oh, Frank, we were failing, weren't we? We were in the hole every month. It was costing particular council to keep it open.
Okay. So somewhere along the line, there was a courage of people who had vision of what the face of society means to Peterborough and the stores, and they came up saying, we need to find a new location in a retail sector, and we have to identify a person to run our store. You went out across the province. Angela came from Windsor. She's not a local girl. They hunted the province to find a manager. Angela comes from Windsor. The store now, well, you've gone from one store to two stores, plus the pantry. You said yesterday you need $17,000 a month just to cover the pantry. These are all incredibly great byproducts of efficiency, of recognizing that the stores are the face of the society, of recognizing the value of letting a manager manage. And it's not just any manager. You went out and had your shopping list of what it is you're looking for in a manager, and you went to Windsor to find that person. So, again, when I look around the room here, I count at least 11 operations here that have stores. And I'm kind of wondering how many managers are here, but to what level of empowerment and courage do they want to have to let the store be that fourth pillar as Richard's talking about here? You've got a golden opportunity, and I truly believe Peterborough and also here Brantford are definitely true models that every council here should aspire to and learn and understand about their operations.
We don't like to toot our own horns.
That's why I'm
We
tooting
really
it for
don't.
you.
Thank you, Phil. We don't. It took a lot of courage to do what we did, and we had a great team of people who thought, no more standing still. We're going to move forward.
Yeah, it took an ex-president of a particular council to really
Fired up.
He got angry, and he said, you know, this is just silly. We're just doing the same thing over and over again. Nothing's changing. It's not getting better. Within a year, we better have a new vision. And so then we put together a committee, basically, and we narrowed it down, and we said, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to change. And it was high risk. You're right, Phil. It was high risk, and we were all worried, but it was incredible. Just that manual, for example, that we've just redone again. We went from a 16 to 20 page manual. Now we're into 60 pages. But because we've evolved that much and the store is so successful, it's become big business. So we need to understand that this is big business, and we don't understand all of those things that we thought, we could just do it in the little Vinnie store in the old pantry. No, we need to do this, and we need to be aware of those things. So I had no idea of all of these restrictions and ordinances and things that we now have to follow because we're that big business.
Would it be safe to say that the Vinnie's brand in Peterborough pretty much a recognized
100%. Yes.
We were on TV last week.
We were on TV a couple of times last week. We try to get in front of the media as much as possible. And we are opening another Vinnie's store, hopefully June or July, in the downtown core, which we're really excited about. Not Angela, but the rest of us. Mike?
If I were to take a bird's eye view of what we've been discussing today, I would say, and this would dovetail with what Richard is saying, it's too bad we couldn't somehow work to raise the level of consciousness. Father Richard Rohr, amongst others, has written about the Enneagram. So, for example, if you have an 8, which is a John Wayne type, talking to a 9 in the Enneagram, who's more of a passive individual, you have an understanding somewhat on a human level of how to deal with conflicts. Because if if you ask anybody, any work of any job, the difficulty is usually human relationships. What happens sometimes is we're triggered, and people don't even realize they're being triggered or don't know what that is. And so when we act out of our wounds, and we all have wounds through life, we all have experienced traumas at various levels, we either pass on our pain to other people or to absorb it in such a way that we become empathetic and more loving and compassionate and know how to deal with it. So it's very easy for people to trigger one another and not to be able to keep the ego in check. So if there's an understanding that's spiritually based and psychologically based, and I know it's not easy to do, but like I said, the Enneagram is just one example of many where if you raise the level of consciousness, and I know I'm wearing my pink colored glasses right now, but if you can raise the level of awareness, you know, you can, in a sense, be able to calm down and actually listen to what, even if you disagree, but to calm down and listen to what the other person is saying and be fully present. That word is overly used these days, but it's a very accurate one. To be fully present to the other is to be a Vincenzo. And to be fully present means that at least, even if the person feels, if at least the person feels respected, you'll have an honest dialogue and decrease the conflict. So again, that's something where I think maybe we could have a talk at one of these, either Ontario level and or provincial level and federal level, and then maybe that can be disseminated through the web over time. It's not an easy thing to teach, and we're always learning, of course. We're never experts. Even if we know about this stuff, we sometimes will get triggered. On a good day, we might be able to listen carefully. On a bad day, not so much. That's human nature. So to recognize that we're all fallible, that we all make a lot of mistakes. You mentioned that word in your presentation. But there's a certain humility behind that too. But I find if people get their guard up and egos offended, then you merge into conflict. And the two people...
Story. There's part of that story that you can relate to at some point as a manager. And if you can take anything away from that that's going to help you in the future, it's really important for us to work
I think
with
it's
each other
important
that
to
way.
share those stories, good, bad, great. Karen?
I just want to say that I'm struggling. I thought I was a pretty good manager, but I met these guys here, and these guys are phenomenal, and I'm so pleased to, we've exchanged cards, I'm going to call them, but like, these guys rock. Like, it's a great organization.
They do rock.
It's true.
You all rock, I hate to tell you, some of the things you do. So cheers to you guys. Linda?
I just wanted to add, I think you guys are doing an amazing job here in Peterborough with your store chair. Brantford's doing an amazing job with the new store they opened up. But I also wanted to add with the store committee, I know in London, we have a store committee. So we have our store chair, and then we have based on expertise. So just to kind of give an example for people who are looking at building a store committee, we have store chairs, and we've identified someone that looks after HR relations in the store committee, someone that looks after property management issues in the store committee, and someone that looks after retail in the store committee. So that way, if the manager goes to the store committee for some information or guidance, there's someone with those skills on that store committee to help the manager. So basically, that's just to give an example of some of the skills they look at on the store committee.
That's great.
That was one of the steps too, when we initially went. We were smart enough or humble enough to realize that we didn't know a lot about a lot of things. And so when we put the committee together, before we expanded, as Phil said, we went out and got people who were into real estate. We went out and got headhunters. We went out and found people that had specific skills in those areas that we don't have, but who were willing to work with us to help us through these processes.
And
it
a
worked.
lot of them were, like, they didn't want to sign up to stay with us forever. They wanted to sign up and help us with the project, which was great. So if you say, you know, we're only gonna need you for a little while, more people will step up.
And they're in your parishes. I mean, you know, you just have to ask, and they say, yeah, I can work with you on that for a little while. So
Okay, we only have 3 minutes left. I want to thank you all for coming and taking part and helping our managers. I want to thank the managers for the wonderful work they do. I love being a part of their little group. They'll probably kick me out in 2 years, but so we're gonna, if there's no more questions, I just want to thank you for listening and being a part of our store committees and our store managers. Thank you.